Hi guys, welcome to another video. I'm just out on the Honda CT today. Yes, I know, the Honda CT. It is actually pretty chilly today. This is the downside about a CT. There's no wind protection here, so it's pretty chilly. I think we're in the plus, but as I'm going along it's actually pretty cold. I need some sort of windshield. Just around the legs would be good, because that's the bit that gets cold. So yeah, anyway, just out for a little bit. I'm not going to go too quick, just cruising around 40 miles an hour probably. And yeah, I read an article the other day I thought I'd share. It's quite funny. It's about how the average age of a car in the UK is about 8 years old. So the average age, some cars are older, but there's a lot of new cars out recently. You do see the odd old car still, but the average, see, that was an 08 that car, so then a 21, so you know, that's a sort of like age rate. You don't see anything more than like 2005 I think is a bit of a rarity. That was a brand new car. I don't know what that was a custom plate, but still a lot of brand new cars out and about. There's another 71 plate, so yeah, a lot of brand new cars out, which is bringing the average age of ownership of cars up, well, or down, or whatever. I don't know what it's been like over the past few years, but interestingly, motorbikes are almost double, well, not quite double, almost double. 15 years on average is the average age of motorbikes at the moment in the UK, because a lot of bikers they want to get their classics running more and more. Okay, yeah, a part of it is like bikes possibly are not used all the time, so a lot of people would only use them for a bit of fun. Me, I don't really commute on mine anymore, so I don't need a super reliable bike, or you know, I can afford to have classics and stuff, because they can be a bit of a pain, and I would like a modern, I mean, yeah, the BMW I guess is my modern bike. I'd use that as a daily driver if I had to, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, I wouldn't, you know, it's not that terrible, whatever. But yeah, maybe a part of bikes are just toys and only come out, and so it's kind of like worth it to have like an old reliable bike that you're just going to sit there, it's all paid up and everything, where spare parts are cheap. If spare parts are cheap and stuff, then you know, you might as well just keep it in the garage and it's not really losing any money. So yeah, classic bikes, we keep our heritage alive. Classic bikes in the UK, for those who don't know, anything over 25 years or older is considered a classic. You don't get any benefits at being 25 years old. The only thing you can get is if you're not using it as your main mode of transportation. So if it is a bit of fun, or you know, it's not your main mode of transportation, or you had a few of them, you can usually, as long as you're not using it for commuting to a single place of work, then you can apply for classic motorbike insurance, which is a lot cheaper than regular insurance sort of thing. So for instance, fully comp on all my bikes on a classic policy, because the BMW is not a classic, they can rope it in there, because I don't know, they said they could, so whatever. I still get a good price, so I'm very happy with it, sort of thing, with the price I got offered and stuff. So I'm very happy with that. But yeah, for a fully comp, I'm paying about 400 and something quid a year. So that's fully comp, all bikes covered, European cover, all that stuff. I think they know that classic bikes spend most of the time in the garage, and they only come out on the summer days, and owners tend to be a bit more finicky with them. So 25 years, you can get your cheaper insurance. That's it. That's all you can get, really. So for me, that's great. That's perfect. You know, whatever. But there's a lot, you know, but here's the other catch. When they get to 40 years old, you can apply for a historical vehicle. You send your documents off and you get them back, and your bike will be registered as historical. Once it's a historical classic, which is 40 years old or more. Well, technically it's like 41, unless you're very lucky and your bike was built on January 1st or something, before January 7th or something, then you'll be fine. But technically it's 41 years old. I know it's 40 years old, but it technically is kind of like, technically you have to wait till it's 41 almost, with the way the wording is on the law. And I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not going to get it wrong. I'm not going to attempt. I'm out on the CT today because it's a weekend and there's usually a bunch of cyclists on this road, so going at 40 mile an hour is probably perfect. But yeah, you get your historical classic bike and whatever, but and then you don't have to pay. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to pay vehicle tax, not road tax. Road tax doesn't exist. Vehicle tax. You don't have to pay your vehicle tax every year, and you don't have to pay your. Well, you don't have to have an MOT. That's reason because most old bikes wouldn't pass a modern MOT. Honda Cubs are like, you know, not 80. Technically, they can't pass an MOT either, because of the way you hook it up to the brake test sometimes, and it depends which place you go to. Some do the rolling brake test, some do the cable brake test. It can't. I don't think I've ever passed the cable brake test, because what happens is I put the brakes on, the wheels are locked, but the bike's still going. So it's like on the rear wheel, the bike will just get pulled forward, which is quite funny. So yeah, basically if you have a classic bike, yes, you can get it MOT'd, but it doesn't do anything. The only thing that's good about having an MOT, I think they can enter it on the database. I'll have to check, because I'm going to be doing that with mine. If you have an MOT done, you can you have an accident or something, then the insurance will more likely pay out for the full amount. Which is like, they'll say, oh, it didn't have an MOT, then you're not going to get the full amount. That's basically the difference. But yeah, every few years I'd probably take my bike. In some countries they have it every 2 years, in bike inspections and stuff, so it's that sort of thing, isn't it? But the thing is, when you go out on a classic ride like today, I'll go home and I'll be looking over the bike once over to make sure everything's still attached. Usually something vibrates loose, something somewhere. Classic car owners have to take their cars, don't have to take their cars to MOT, but a lot of them do take their cars to MOT or to a workshop just to jack them up and then re-tighten everything down again, sort of thing, because yeah, they can get pretty bent out of shape and stuff. Anyway, yes, the funny thing about the article was that we don't produce any, well, it's basically, they say it's our contribution to the greenhouse gases, or our pollution per year, is virtually invisible. Like, it might as well just be invisible. They account for so little, it is basically invisible, which is good. And here's the second funny thing. The two most popular bikes in the UK on classics, so it's 25 years or older, right? And number one is the Honda Cub, the Honda C90. Okay, yes, they did make a lot of them, but they're so popular, people keep them on the roads, they're so cheap to run. So yeah, that it kind of makes sense, I thought, oh yeah, of course, Honda Cub is the most popular classic bike out there. It really is. Parts are plentiful, bikes are plentiful, they're getting a bit too expensive now, to a point where the spirit of them has kind of lost its appeal, because they used to be just a cheap bike to go on a cheap adventure with. Now they're an expensive bike, and if you bought one, you're sitting on a minimum. You're sitting on £1,000 if you've got one running. If you've got one, it's like a minimum of £1,000. It doesn't matter what sort of condition it's in, as long as it's like all there. It doesn't matter if it's running, rusty, whatever. You're looking at £1,000 for one. So that's just 850 quid to £1,000 for a Cub, which is mental, considering that how much they were back in the day, what they were built for. They're built just for cheap, and they're terrible bikes. At the moment they're bang for your buck. So they're not terrible bikes, they're great bikes, but the bang for your buck is terrible at the moment. It's like, for the same money you can get, which leads us on to the second classic. Oh, it's a bit rocky here, a bit gravelly there. Luckily I've got off-road tyres. I was riding on gravel for quite a while, and then I just realised, oh yeah, hang on, I'm riding on gravel. Then I got a bit nervous. It's like, oh, hang on, I'm on a CT, it's not too bad. But the second bike that is very popular in the UK right now, number 2 most classic bike, is a Honda again, and it is a Honda VFR 750, not the 800, the 750, because the 800 isn't really old enough yet to be classic. It's getting there, we're almost there, but not quite. But yeah, Honda VFR 750, my one, and it's funny that I've got both of the bikes, I guess that's kind of true, but like my one cost £1,000, plus 250 quid, I think it was around 250 quid, that I spent on it, like when I first got it, which was a new tyre, a service, and refurbing the front calipers. No, that put 1,350 that was, but that's how much I paid for it. And yeah, I went up to did the NC500. You know, I've been up to Scotland twice on it. You know, I've had to put a new rear tyre on again, new chain and sprockets now. I think like 1.8, but that bike has been to Scotland and back twice, so it's definitely done. I think it's done about 5,500 miles, 6,000 miles in the first year-ish of me owning it, so that's pretty good. 27 years old, I think mine is, or 28. So yeah, it's a bit old, but it's a classic, you know, and I guess it'll keep. But the point is that bike cost me less than a Cub. And it's a far greater bike for on the road anyway. And you know, if I was to commute to London again or anything like that, then yeah, the VFR would be the perfect bike because it doesn't cost a lot. It's quicker. Oh yeah, hang on, that ULEZ stuff comes in, doesn't it? I wonder if that, yeah, all that stuff. Well, if I had to commute to London without the ULEZ and stuff, even if I had to commute, and it was you know, not through towns and stuff, and it was like a how can I say, like, you know, like not dual carriageway, so it was like all like this or just through towns. But if it was dual carriageway and stuff, a C90 is not going to commute very well on a dual carriageway. I mean, yeah, it can do it. It can do it. The Cub can do it. When, you know, you can't. Cub can do it. But yeah, you wouldn't want to do it, sort of thing. Come on, little Doodle. Anyway, yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to share that little tidbit of information. I'll put a link down to the article below. It's an interesting read anyway. But yeah, I was just like laughing. I was like, oh, in first place is Honda Cub. Well, no surprise. Second place is VFR. Well, you know what? Since I bought my VFR, you do notice a lot of them on the road. And there's a lot of people who have them. So they've put this here to stop vehicles parking here now. Everyone used to park here, you see, and take pictures. Even more bikes about, aren't you? Oh, Scooter Brothers. Right then, I think I'll end the video here, so if you liked it, drop it a like if you want more of these sort of videos, and I'll catch you in the next one. But I need to go to Honda, because I got a text message saying my parts are in stock for my bike build, so I must go pick them up so I can continue my RS build. Right, got all my bike parts, let's go home. Don't be doing that to me now.